everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Proline Daily, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America, coming to you direct from Las Vegas. We're going to talk about the NBA Game 5 matchup between the Rockets and Spurs, and also a baseball game tonight. Jim, 6-1, the current NBA run, 2-0 on Sunday with the Cavs and Wizards, and then 2-0 last night with the Warriors and over. So the run continues, 109-65. That's a substantial record over a very long sample of games.
Yeah, I'm really pleased, Dave, and I know you're doing as well. So, we're really doing good for ourselves and the customers. And I have an ALL Central Game of the Month on April 29th. I had one, and it was the total, and it flew over the total, 12-4. That was a shootout, and I got a big one coming up. The Central Total of the Month wins tonight in baseball, along with an NBA TV showdown, each $25. You want to win? Get on board. That's $25 each for my AL Central Total of the Month and my NBA TV showdown.
Okay, I got two baseball games tonight. One is the Tigers-Diamondbacks game, and the other is a game where it's a big favorite, which I normally don't play very often, but I think there's some value in them tonight. And on that game, I created a -1 line, so you're actually getting two plays, a money line play and a runs line play. That way it reduces the liability, and I like both games quite a bit. Each is $25, and they're available right now. So check them out and get in the win column tonight in Major League Baseball. So let's talk Rockets and Spurs. And this has been a series, basically a story of whether Houston makes their three-pointers or they don't make their three-pointers. In the games that they've made their three-pointers, which were Game 1 and Game 4, they were winners. In Games 2 and 3, not so hot from the field, and they lost those games. So, the determination tonight is, are they going to be able to shoot the ball on the road successfully from outside? And if they do, Houston's got a great chance to win again and go up in this series. But if they don't, then the Spurs are probably going to win this game and take a 3-2 lead.
Well, it's interesting how Popovich, which I consider to be one of the best coaches in the business and has been for a long time, it's what can he do? Can he guard the three-point line? Because this Houston team can shoot three-pointers, and they can be very prolific at times doing so. They're making a little bit of an adjustment tonight. Eric Gordon is in the starting lineup. How that will affect the game, I'm not 100% sure. He played very well in the last game. But when you look at this lineup, here's the knock on, not only did they lose their point guard in Parker, you have an old lineup here with Aldridge, Gasol, and Lee. These guys are in their 30s, and that's aging in NBA basketball terms. Now, can they get out to guard the three-point line, or do they just sit back, let them shoot the three-pointers, and hope they don't hit a high percentage, and then hurt the Rockets on the other end of the floor with their size and physicality underneath the boards, like Aldridge did 2 games ago when he got 26. So that's the question. It's really a chess game between these two teams, and it's probably at this point it is the most interesting matchup, because all these games, it's crazy in the NBA, all the games are blowouts. You've got to pick the right side, of course, but when they win, they just win by 20. It's like candy. When you're on the right side, the games aren't even close. So it's a chess match here tonight. They're going back to San Antonio after getting blown out. I don't think the zigzag really matters too much when you get down this deep in a playoff series. It never has in the past. It usually only works in the first 2 or 3 games. But this is going to be an interesting matchup between two very different teams, the physicality of the Spurs and whether they can make that work for them or not.
Yeah, I'm not playing the game. because I really don't know what's going to happen. But I would say this. If you like the Spurs, I would probably play Spurs in under. And if you like the Rockets, I would take Rockets in over, because I think the pace is going to determine the winner in this game. The Spurs need to slow them down and make them miss shots. And the Rockets want to play as fast as they can. So I would say if you're gonna take a shot in this game, better to play both the side and total than just the side.
Well, the interesting thing about this is the Spurs are a much deeper team. There's another way to look at this. The Spurs are a deeper team than the Rockets. Rockets are really running 7 players. So if the Spurs decide that they can wear them down, which would hurt Houston in the fourth quarter, which is where you see the fatigue, they'll run. They'll push the pace. The best player on the floor is Kawhi Leonard. The question is, can the Spurs pick up the pace and wear the Rockets out, or take it your direction, slow it down, and work it that way? But that plays into helping the Rockets, because they do only have 7 players that are making any difference in the game. So it's really, like I said, it's a chess game. Which style of play are you going to choose? And that's what you do in a chess game as well, if any of you out there play chess.
Let's look at a baseball game tonight as well. And the Red Sox opening a series at Milwaukee against the Brewers. And, Boston is hoping that their history holds up here, because this has been the monster team in interleague games. Going back, and this goes back a whole bunch of years now, their last 232 interleague games, the Red Sox have a record of 156-76. That's an unbelievable winning percentage over that amount of games. So they love interleague baseball. Part of the reason for that has been their dynamic offense over the years. They just get in there against these teams and kill them with their offense. Well, Red Sox offense this year has been a little bit spotty, but they are picking it up a little bit, and they might have some momentum going in here after what took place over the weekend with that 10-run ninth inning. That was something that was a needed shot in the arm for the Red Sox offense. The pitching matchup tonight is Drew Pomeranz, who's been in good form for Boston, and he will take on Willie Peralta, veteran right-hander for the Brewers, who has a 4-2 record, but, well, we'll call it a little bit misleading, as his peripheral numbers are actually not good at all. I think the Red Sox should win this game. The problem, Jim, and this is why it's not on my card, is the price. You know, you have to factor that in and not take bad value even when you like a game. And this is a good example. I think the right price in this game, based on the modeling I do, is about 120. But the odds on the game actually are 135. So even though I think the Red Sox are going to win this baseball game, laying 135 on a game where the right price is 120 is a bad move. Now, that also doesn't mean that I'm automatically going to take what I think is a little value with Milwaukee, because I still have the Red Sox winning the game. And I'm only going to take the underdog in a situation like that if I actually have them winning the game, or there's so much value that I can't pass it up. So this will be a no play for me. I would say the Red Sox are the right side, but I don't think the price is right.
Well, that's good thinking when you're playing baseball. Baseball is, it's a long season, 162 games by each team. There's a lot of spots that you can take small positions on. You shouldn't really get carried out with big positions, because it's not that kind of sport. And when you get a matchup that looks like it's really easy, it's usually a big price game, and you don't want to lay those kind of numbers. When you look at Pomeranz, he's been pretty consistent. He's getting mostly 5 and 6 innings. He's only once given up more than 2 earned runs in that period of time. His walks are low. He's not doing too bad in that area. And occasionally he gets some pretty good strikeouts. He's had a couple 7s in 5 or 6 innings, and a couple, and even 110, although that was his worst game actually. In this spot, the funny thing is, the price is really out of line when you look at these two teams. They both basically have the same record.
Yeah.
Peralta doesn't look as good in form. His last game wasn't too bad. 5 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts in 5 in the third. Lost the game 2-1. That was at St. Louis. Not a bad game. The price, you're right, Dave. It should only be 120. So you are taking much the worst of it here if you take Boston. On a value play situation, you want to be on Baltimore, but you have to. It might come down to the bullpens. And it will come down to the bullpens because neither one of these pitchers are likely to get out of the 5th inning.
It's 2017 baseball. It always comes down to the bullpens.
That's right. This isn't going back to the Nolan Ryan days when the starter actually finished the game occasionally.
Well, that's such a big part of the handicap now in baseball is you really, if you're just, and I don't, this is not my style because I'm incorporating all the variables. But if you're just handicapping starting pitching, you really should be playing first 5s, and that's it. If you're not, and for a lot of people who don't have time to mull this over or don't have they don't have a format where they're focused on everything. If you're just handicapping on starting pitching, then to me your strategy should be first 5 plays and leave the bullpen out of it.
Well, that is true. If you're gonna do a whole game, you really need to know how the condition of your bullpens, who pitched last night, who might be worn out, who might be available today. Because a lot of times you have really good bullpen people, but they got worked out over in the last couple of days, and they're not going to use them. So that's definitely 100% right there, Dave.
So I don't have any plays on either of these games, so I'm going to give out a free play, but this is a contingency free play. It's on tonight's Angels-Oakland game, and Alex Meyer starting for the Angels, and he'll be opposed by Jarrell Cotton, young right-hander for Oakland, who's got a great changeup. That's his best pitch. The key here is who's playing for the Angels. Now, right now, we don't know if Mike Trout's going to be in the lineup or not tonight. He's missed 4 of the last 5 games and wasn't even used as a pinch hitter last night. And there was one spot where it's like, wow, this is a spot that screams for Mike Trout. So the fact that Socha wouldn't even put him in as a pinch hitter last night, that tells me he's not 100% yet. So I don't know if he's going to play or not. Andrelton Simmons, I'm speculating will not play tonight for the Angels. I could be dead wrong on that, and that's why I'm going to wait for the lineups. But he got hit in the hand by a pitch last night. X-rays were negative, but there was some swelling. And given that he had that left thumb problem where he needed surgery last year, I think the Angels might be, they might exercise some caution here and keep Simmons out until they know everything's fine. They don't want, you don't want to lose him long term. It's not for his offense, but he's the best shortstop I've ever seen play defensively, and you don't want to lose that. So other than that, I kind of like Oakland in this game. And if those guys are not playing, I'm going to end up betting this game. I think Cotton rates an edge over Alex Meyer, who's a big, tall guy, and he has, typical of pitchers of that size, he has mechanical issues. He has a lot of problems repeating his delivery, and it can get very wild. And the Angels, quite frankly, their lineup right now is not very good. So you wonder about what they're going to do against Cotton. Also, factor into this, the Angels bullpen, which is very short-handed right now. Bedrosian's hurt. They've got a couple other guys that are dinged up right now. And Oakland, after not having a single walk-off winner in the first 30 or so games, 3 straight games where they've had walk-off wins in the bottom of the 9th. So they've got a lot of momentum right now. I would look at the A's here, but again, my recommendation is to wait and see what the lineup info is for the Angels. I mean, if Trout's in the lineup, that changes everything.
Dave, do you have a problem at all with the price on the game? Because you're looking at 135.
No, not if Trout and Simmons are not playing. I think the A's are more like 150, to be honest with you. I mean, they've got a lot of momentum right now. I don't like the pitcher for the Angels. I think he'll be gone by 5 innings, and that brings a shaky and somewhat used up bullpen into play. I think the advantage would definitely be with Oakland. So, again, I'm going to wait for the lineups though. Patience is a virtue.
You look at what Meyer's done as a starter.
Terrible.
I mean, at Seattle, he goes 4 innings. This is the line on the game: 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 6 of them earned, 3 bases on balls, and 4 strikeouts. That was horrible.
Well, those walks,
against Toronto, he went 3 innings and gave up a bunch of stuff. I mean, he wasn't sharp in either outing.
No, he's a guy who's had the prospect tag for a few years, but I don't think he's going to materialize. And I'd move him to the bullpen and just let him feature 2 pitches out of the bullpen and see if he can throw strikes. He's a big dude and he can throw the ball hard, but he doesn't have the arsenal. He doesn't have the command of the arsenal necessary to be a starting pitcher in the majors. But the Angels also don't have much choice right now because of the injuries that just continue to be an issue for this team. It's been a tough 2-year run as far as injuries are concerned for the Angels, no question about that. Hey, if you want to get free plays every day in a recorded message, that's very easy to do. Call 888-294-1970.
And you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jim Fye Sports. NBA TV Showdown now at Jim Fye Sports. Don't forget that. A big Major League Baseball action as well. Don't forget that as well. And you can get free plays by texting GAME, GAME, to 25827.
And that's going to do it for this edition of Proline. We will try it again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Wednesday with another edition of Proline Daily from Las Vegas.